Why do you smoke weed?
To be honest, at this point, it's just a repetition. Like, I just recently started meditating again while I'm smoking. And then I had to think about that shit too. I had to think about why I smoke too. And now, I'll be meditating, so.
You feel like it's more of a meditation?
It was always a meditation for me. What made me start fucking with weed was it altered my mind state and made me think about situations that I was living through and from the other side of the situation.
Instead of reacting.
Yeah, instead of reacting, I'm just looking at it from different angles because I'm not in my subconscious. I'm not in that subconscious loop of thoughts that I'm in, and you know you're unaware of this shit. It's like being in fucking water. Like you're swimming in your thoughts for so fucking long, you don't even realize the type of thoughts that you have. And that's why I fuck with weed, because it brought all of those thoughts right to the front, right straight to the forefront. But the thing about weed is it does it in such a way where if you don't remind yourself that that's what it can do, you're just dealing with all of your negative shit in the worst possible shape that your mind can bring it to you. But if you're aware of it, then it's like, oh shit, I'm feeling all of these different emotions because this is what I'm holding back when I'm not high. So, for me personally, I take the chance to just look at those thoughts and observe them from every single corner that I could look at the thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Just every possible angle, every point of view. And then just think about it with less emotion. Weed helps me do that shit. So far I've been doing it strictly as like a response to trauma, and yeah, as a response to trauma. You feel me? Because over the past year, like the past 6 months, I was there somebody that was going through some mental shit. You feel me? And being there for somebody while they're going through some shit like that, bro, it eats at your mind too, because you're like, it's like, alright, boom. You go from passing somebody sitting on the floor begging for change, not giving them no money, to going, you know what, let me sit down on this floor for a whole day and just see what this nigga go through. And then now, you ain't homeless, but you watching everybody pass this nigga by, not give him no money, give the person dirty looks for being homeless. You know what I'm saying? Talk shit about the person, and while they can still hear because they're homeless and shit, give them money, but they're pitying them and this shit. So it's like, okay, no, I'm not homeless, but I'm sitting in a seat and I'm watching how everyone is treating said person. So now, with the whole mental shit, it's like, alright, boom. Niggas got shit to say, but ain't no help. You know what I'm saying? That shit fuck with me. Like, it fucked with me OD, bro, because I'm like, alright, boom. No matter, it don't matter what you going through and shit, niggas gonna look at you and laugh, bro. They gonna look at you and laugh. You could be going through the worst psychotic break of your life, and niggas will just delete you off social media, delete you out there, block your number and shit, and not have to give a fuck about you. But then when they hear, oh shit, so and so is in a psych ward, so and so had to go get what is that shit? When they get people off drugs and shit like that? Rehab. So-and-so had to go to rehab because somebody laced them. And now you're like, oh shit. You feel bad because you laughing at said person. But it's like, my nigga. Watching all that shit and all that behavior, even if it's not you, just the thought you have, like, niggas don't give a fuck about niggas. You feel me? And that's really why I was smoking too, like, just watching that shit and feeling like, yo, I don't got nobody to talk to about this specifically for real. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if I talk to my shit with somebody, if I talk about my shit with somebody, they just gonna they gonna wait for me to finish talking so they can say whatever the fuck they want to say, or they gonna not they can't relate, so they're trying to listen, but trying to bring the story back to them and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole bunch of shit, bro. Like niggas don't really be putting their own mental monologue to the side to sit and listen to another person and really understand what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? So when I feel like ain't nobody there for that, I roll up and I smoke. You feel me? But that was fucked up because after all that shit, I still want to talk about it. But I noticed that when I meditate, I don't have that problem. Like when I'm meditating, it's just okay, boom. I don't feel like smoking a split. When I don't feel like smoking a spliff, I clip the shit and I put it out. Know what I mean? When I'm not meditating and I'm smoking, and I'm like, damn, I'm out here smoking, this, that, and the third, and there's mad guilt in my brain and shit. You feel me? So it's like, oh, okay, I'm not living according to my truth and my purpose. Because when I was smoking and meditating, I'm like, yeah, I can smoke, meditate, do this shit all day. When I'm smoking and I'm not meditating, I'm like, damn, should I be smoking this much? This, that, and the third, this, that, and the third. But and I think that comes back to how I feel about being rich and being righteous and shit. It's like I could smoke just to get high for the physical chemical effect, or I could smoke and get high and meditate for the mental spiritual effect. You know what I'm saying? So
I disagree with that part because I feel like that's us naturally. We're mental and spiritual naturally. I feel like that it overwhelms us to the point where we feel like we need another form of spiritual meditation. And you don't necessarily look for that in a drug. You do that in the churches, or, you know what I'm saying, your family or something like that. I started smoking weed. I was against the weed.
Me too. You can talk about that.
I was against the weed. Like I'm just thinking about it as you were speaking and painting, and I'm listening. I'm like, dang, like, yo, dang, listening is listening. Listening is key. When you listen, you understand. You understand and get closer to a person like that because you have similarities. There's a whole bunch of things you just said that I have, you know, bare stories. We be here.
I heard you
talking about stories, but I started off an activist against weed. My pop smoked weed since I was young. So I'm saying I grew up around people on the block smoking weed. I'm from the Bronx. You feel me? Shit like that. Like I just grew up around it, and cigarettes always hated it. Blacks always hated it, but I love the smell.
Okay.
So it was just like I would never smoke it, but I would love to see little clips and shit like that. And I'll, you know, play with it. Blew my shit, you know what I'm saying? I was against it since I was young, but then there was one time I feel like I became a follower. I was a follower. It wasn't necessarily I wanted to smoke. I followed, and I followed from a person in my eyes that was righteous to me. Like I have friends who sold weed. I used to be around them all the time, you know what I'm saying? I ain't look at weed as selling a bad thing. I always looked at weed as it's weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be amazed by it. You don't know what it is. Like, I'm glad that people was around me with it because I knew what it was. You see what I'm saying?
Alright.
But I never smoked it. So I was just like, nah, bro, I don't smoke that. I used to be the nigga that hit the shit. Nah, I don't want that shit. I don't want that shit, you know what I'm saying? Get that shit away from me. Until one of my friends who was a nerd, a bookworm, and I looked up to him in a way. His name was Aziz. You know what I'm saying? Bro, he was studying, and he was just overwhelmed, started bugging. I used to record. I've been recording for a long time. So my mom loved him. Like, this is the people you need to hang around. So he could just come in my house, just stay here. All right, I'm looking right there. Just walk in. Other people should be like, what? You know what I'm saying? Stop them at the door. She let him come in. So I'm like, yo, I'm doing music. He's like, yo, what's up?
But you recorded since you were in high school?